Hello and welcome to another episode of Telling Everybody Everything. It is Saturday, the 2nd of August. I just went to Oasis tonight in Wembley Stadium. It's not that I dislike Oasis. I love Oasis. I think Liam Gallagher is a real loose cannon, and I like that from an entertainer. He has made me laugh more than a few times on socials. I like anyone who uses the C word. I'm not sure which one of them did Natalie Appleton wrong. It's difficult to trust a man who would fumble that ball. And Noel is one of the most, am I getting them backwards? Noel is one of the most talented songwriters ever. Like, it's crazy that you look at the list of producers and songwriters and it'll be like 47 people and 12,000 computers wrote this song and that song. And there used to be a time when one person would write a song with maybe a few collaborators and it would be a classic. Like sometimes a simple song, but a song that really spoke to a lot of people, became a family anthem. People would sing along to it for years. Everyone loves Manchester. And so I just, those boys are great. Would I go to see Oasis live on my own, as pregnant as I am? Definitely not. No, it would not be my ideal night out. I have seen that even though it's an amazing show, there have been, pint glasses of piss chucked on people. It's not my scene. But Bobby was hosting 6. So like 3 couples. 6 people from his hometown, or like his university. We're from the same hometown, but he went to this university, has like football friends. So they all came and they've been here for 2 nights. The first night was low-key at home, and this was the big night that everybody wanted to go to Oasis. And one of the wives said to me last night, she said, "Are you also coming to Oasis?" I was like, "Yeah, I think I have to. I think like I'm on a list." The tickets are probably Live Nation tickets that I was given. And then I realized, hang on, no, like Bobby purchased these tickets. I don't actually have to go. I can't be drinking. I'm not comfortable around drunk people, like that drunk. Maybe I shouldn't go. And it was for the first time I considered like, wait a minute, I don't have to go to this concert. But then I thought, they have some great hits. I would like to go, and then I will do the genius thing of leaving early. And that's what I did. As you can see, if you're watching the visual medium of this podcast, I'm wearing a bucket hat. It's not my vibe, but Louis Vuitton is my vibe. I'm an organic fan of Louis Vuitton. I found a black Louis Vuitton bucket hat, and that's what I wore to Oasis. And some Loewe sunglasses and this like vintage Oasis tour tee that I found on eBay. I have done ads for eBay before. This is not an ad for eBay. I'm currently not under any contract, but it is, if you know how to look, it's a great way to find actual things, good things, and be sustainable. You can list your things on there too. Anyway, I'm back in the ad. I'm back in the ad space. This is not an ad. Drunk people make me uncomfortable. They make me really uncomfortable, even when they're my friends. Like, I know that Bobby and his pals were having a great time. It's great to see people with small children let loose. Like, some of these couples have never been away from their small children, some of whom are like 7 years old, and they're like, this is our first time away. So it's amazing to see them having fun. But bless them, they're being so nice to me. They're like, we'll protect you, Katherine, don't worry. Because as the night progressed, like I'd go to the loos and there'd be girls just getting sick in the toilets. And there was a man behind me. He was so nice. He kept asking everyone if they were like organic Man City fans because of the boys' jerseys. And the boys were like, no, we're not. We just got these jerseys and we're from Canada. And then the guys started being like, well, welcome to the land of opportunity. This is where the world began. And Bobby's like, Africa? Anyway. That man was like smacking me in the head a lot, not on purpose, just from like dancing. And then even the friends were getting quite drunk. A lot of that was my fault because I kept being the like mom to go to the bar and get the white wines. I'm kind of an enabler. But when they started like singing at me and checking if I was okay, and like, I don't I don't like being shouted at. An anecdote over top of Wonderwall. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I just can't. As a sober person, you cannot be around even the most well-intentioned drunk person. It just doesn't work. And so I wish everyone the best, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave right now before the encores, before it gets like wild. And it was the most beautiful experience. I walked out of Wembley Stadium alone, and there were like 10,000 police stood there looking at me, like all in formation, which was kind of sexy, kind of made me feel like the queen. And then I said goodnight. And I loved like even the smugness of walking in a straight line, completely sober out of that concert and being like, see ya. And then navigating like where I could get a taxi, because a lot of the roads are closed. And I found like a black cab taxi rank. My favorite taxis are black cabs. I do like a car service now and then. I use Uber, but the black cabs, they can go in the bus lane. And had I come out of that concert 15, 20 minutes later, I know that the queue for that taxi rank would have been wild. People would have been like pushing. In this shirt, you can't tell that I'm that pregnant. And the few people did kind of get jostly with me during the concert. And I just thought, ugh, it's not a safe place for the bump. And I can't tell if the baby loves Oasis or hates Oasis, because it was certainly like either dancing or trying to escape. We don't know. But it was good. It was like such a successful night. I got to have a date with my husband, sort of in a way, but then also dip out in time for him to not worry about me and like really let loose and have fun with his friends. I don't know if I'll ever get back to a level of comfort around drunk people. There have been, things in my life that have stolen joy from me. I used to dance on things exclusively. I used to like really let loose. I used to be fun. I used to be like obnoxious and boisterous. And now I don't know what it is. If it's just events that have drained the joy, or age, or many pregnancies in quick succession. Like, I don't know what it is that happens to you when you get older, because it doesn't happen to everyone. But I sat and I enjoyed the concert sitting down. Like, I don't want to be micromanaged how I enjoy things. I sat for a lot of the concert. I stood, but I didn't dance or sing. I just sat and enjoyed. And then I thought like, I wonder if I'll ever dance again. I wonder if I'll ever like drop it like it's hot, like start grinding on the dance floor. I wonder if I'll ever feel like doing that again, because right now I just can't imagine it. And I used to do it all the time. I have been asked to get off of a lot of tables in my life. I have been shocked this last week to see a lot of bad press about Deadbeat Dads. There was a young woman on TikTok. I'm sure a lot of you in my world, we like the same things. We probably have similar algorithms showing us what messy drama they think we will like. I saw a young woman come into my feed being like, so-and-so celebrity is a deadbeat dad. We have an 18-month-old son. He doesn't see him often enough. Blah, blah, blah. I want everyone to know that he's a deadbeat dad. And my heart goes out to this woman. She's obviously feeling quite done wrong, resentful, hurt. She's got postpartum emotions go on for like 2 years. She probably feels rejected. She's having feelings on behalf of her son. It's not a good place to be, but she's new to this. She's new to having chosen to give birth to a child with a deadbeat dad. And a lot of people have been in my DMs asking for my reaction. A lot of people have said, well, what do you think? Like, dads seems to be my sweet spot. I have no opinions about the celebrity. Any of my interactions with them have been positive. I've not had any personal interactions with them. We're not like friends. We don't hang out, but people kind of don't hang out at this age. We're too busy. And when I see this celebrity, always been an absolute gentleman. So I have nothing to weigh in on as far as who is concerned. But I just have to say, as a public service announcement, the reaction that those of you in my DMs have been expecting from me regarding Deadbeat Dads could not be more wrong. I love a deadbeat dad. Yum, 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 yum. Like, pray that if you can't have the ideal, which is presumably two equally committed partners looking to put themselves second and their offspring and their relationship first and live a lifetime of sacrifice and empathy and patience. If you can't have that, either together or apart, because a lot of people co-parent apart really successfully. If you can't have that, the next best thing is a deadbeat dad. God, I love a deadbeat dad. A deadbeat dad will breadcrumb your child, will not pay you anything. And at first you might get lost in principle. You might think, well, that's wrong. But people waste their lives fighting for principle. You could do yourself a favor and embrace the lesson that comes from interacting with the deadbeat dad and let it teach you that you can't manipulate people's behavior, even if it's for the good of your child or the good of what's right or the good of yourself. Like, I know you need help. I know that you wish better for your child, but here you are. And a deadbeat dad might run his mouth about you, lie about you. A deadbeat dad might steal photos that you have published and then republish them as his own or send them to his friends and family and act like he was with your child. A deadbeat dad might have a reputation of being like, oh, he's an amazing father, but actually he hasn't seen your daughter in over a year. That's fine. That's all fine. I am the original let them. That deadbeat dad, while he's waxing lyrical about like what an incredible father he is, even though he's never paid a dime of child support in his life, and he's probably shouting at a traffic cone somewhere, he's crazy, that deadbeat dad thinks he's killing it and he's not bothering you. Crucially, he is out of your life. He's not in your, you don't have to like negotiate parents' evening with him. You don't have to like both turn up to football practice and deal with this asshole. It's like, who says having him be involved is better for your child? It depends on what kind of person he is. All right, maybe you fucked up. You didn't get the relationship of co-parenting that you hoped would be ideal for your child, but here you are now. And let a deadbeat dad be a gift to you. You are released. And then whenever women want to air their dirty laundry about these deadbeat dads, I'm like, oh my gosh, babe, what you don't realize is he doesn't know he's a deadbeat dad. So now if you tell everybody that he is, presumably his ego is important to him. So then he'll start stepping up, but in the wrong way and for the wrong reasons. And now he's just going to bother you all the time. You had it good. Maybe he's going to give you a bit of money. Maybe he won't. But what he'll certainly do is start like participating in your day-to-day. And you were free and clear before. Love, 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 love every single thing about a deadbeat dad. My favorite kind of dads. I have girlfriends who have unfortunately had relationships that didn't live up to what they'd hoped. Sometimes the man is not very active as a parent. These are mostly heteronormative relationships. Sorry, like I'm all about diversity, but the examples that I have are all heteronormative and unfortunately are all where the guy has really dropped the ball. But I know women can be bad as well. I actually heard about a really bad mom the other day and I listened with great interest because I was like, this is excellent for me and like resetting my bias. I love to hear about a multi-layered narcissist mom. It was great. But anyway, the friends that I have, there will be maybe a man who is not an active parent. The woman thinks like he's a good partner when there's no third party involved, but then they have a baby and she's shocked to realize that like, oh, when it comes to prioritizing a person, a very vulnerable baby with many complex needs, this man has left me in the lurch. Like this man is useless to me, so I might as well get rid of him. And then this useless man who wasn't an active parent through a sense of like ownership or duty or ego or what, goes, well, I have to have the child 50% of the time. What? And you go, how could you do this? I've been with my child 100% of the time. What do you mean you want my son 50% of the time? And these women are heartbroken that they actually have to part ways 50% of the time with their child, who they exclusively looked after before. And why? And then that dad is just doing it like to prove, I don't know what, to whom. Usually he's just taking the child to daycare anyway, or he does it because he doesn't want to pay maintenance. I have seen that happen, and that is what you don't want. That is what you don't want. So wish into your life the gift of a deadbeat dad. By the way, I have joked in the past, I think, just about different things. My dad being Irish, my dad like drinking. Those are jokes. I actually don't have a deadbeat dad. I never had a deadbeat dad. My mom and my dad don't get along. My mom and my dad split when I was 15. Neither of them are perfect, nor am I. My dad was a very traditional father, and my mom did a lot of the day-to-day with us. But once they split, my dad and I cultivated a good relationship. He was probably the nightmare example where he was like, well, I'll have the kids 50% of the time then. And my mom was like, what? But it turned out, I respect my dad. My dad's really good in a crisis. My dad's really well liked by everyone. He always, and even my mom will say this, even though she doesn't like him, my dad always paid maintenance. Not a lot of dads do. A true deadbeat dad will not, but he'll have everyone thinking that he does. And you owe it to yourself to embrace him as a lesson on how to let go. I'm not sure if this is like specifically of Canadian interest. If you don't know, Justin Trudeau was our prime minister until very recently. He's also a Nepo baby. He's like a C- Obama. His dad, Pierre Trudeau, was also our prime minister. I don't know if you've had that in this country. So in America, George Bush was the prime minister, or like the president, and then George W. Bush was the president. So that's like a father-son. Has it ever happened before that? And then in Canada, we had the Trudeaus. And I liked Justin Trudeau. We all did. He was a heartthrob of the left. But then he went a bit too left. He started seeming like that performative feminist kind of guy, like creeps you out at a dinner party. To me, anyway. He was spotted at dinner, I think in Montreal, with Katy Perry. This could be related to anything. Katy Perry is a real wild card. She's made a lot of questionable decisions in her life and career. She's not my favorite pop star. I don't have anything against Katy Perry. She just reinvented herself too many times for me to feel safe in her authenticity. And like, she's BFFs with the Bezos people, and she's going to space, and then she's talking like she's on absolute MDMA when she comes out of space about like the world and connection. I don't know about that girl. It would seem like almost a Meghan Markle-y Jackie-O move to have a romantic interest in a politician like that. Or in the case of Meghan Markle, a royal family member. Like it feels like it could be true. You can't tell from the dinner. Orlando Bloom and Angela Merkel, they were absolutely Frenching at dinner one night, and it was clear they were fucking hard. No, I have not seen them date. But Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau, I don't know. They're just like eating and talking. She's a real networker, it seems. I just cannot think of a reason beyond romance that they would be together. But like, who knows? Maybe Justin Trudeau's no longer prime minister. He's thinking like, oh, I could just talk to interesting people. This is what the super rich do. And this is why it's cool to be friends with Bezos and go to space, because then you find yourself just rubbing shoulders with Oprah and like getting on to who knows what, just for networking. Like maybe they have designed some type of new toilet to cure disease in a country that has bad sanitation. Like, I don't know. I would love to see that blossom as a romance, only because I think those two would take the cake for being like the most cringe nerds to ever date. Both good looking though. I mean, why not? Imagine getting a divorce from your husband, Orlando Bloom, and being like, my rebound guy, I had a fling with Justin Trudeau. It just seems so weird. But isn't he still with his wife? Hang on. So I've done an ad for this AI assistant. I'm not doing it now. I'm not allowed, I don't think, to ask it spicy questions, but I use it all the time now from learning about it through the ad. Is Justin Trudeau single?
Well, Justin Trudeau and his wife Sophie.
Oh, they have separated. They separated in 2023. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. I think Justin Trudeau, I can confirm now, yes. I think Justin Trudeau and Katy Perry had sex at least once. Oh my gosh. Not as interesting at all as Pamela Anderson and Liam Neeson being like all PDA in their new movie. He tragically lost his wife, Natasha Richardson, years ago. And Pamela Anderson is just, transcended her old glamorous image, like the whole 90s Baywatch uber glam, for just this freshness. She has done the impossible, which is just kind of move away from pinup and kind of a joke. She had a bit of a Katie Price. Not that I think Katie Price is a joke in any way, but the way the world reacted to Pamela Anderson is she was kind of a punchline. And Dolly Parton's been able to do the same. They would objectify these women and make a punchline out of them. And then they just carried on being consistent and iconic and authentic and peaceful about getting older, and turned out some of their best work. And Pamela Anderson just looks so happy and peaceful compared to, the wild Tommy Lee life that she once lived. And if she and Liam Neeson are loved up, that is just as cute as like Meryl Streep and Martin Short. Another hot topic, and I like to wait until this is out of the news cycle because I never want to be like quoted in a headline bashing another celebrity. But a lot of people messaged me after my second melanoma diagnosis earlier this year to ask for my reaction to Sam Faiers from The Only Way is Essex, and she has reality shows now and just seems like a lovely girl. Sam Faiers apparently said she doesn't use sunscreen on her small children because she wants for them to build up a tolerance to sun. So I've just done a little search because I need to know exactly what she said, because people in my DMs are paraphrasing. So if you don't know what she said, here is allegedly what she said. She did an Instagram Q&A, and in that she stated that she and her family, including her 3 children, do not wear sunscreen. She said this is a controversial one, but claimed her kids have built up a really good tolerance to being in the sun. She also expressed that she is, quote, really careful about sunscreen in general. Wait, I didn't do that accent right. Really careful about sunscreen in general because she believes a lot of them are actually pretty harmful and full of toxic ingredients. Instead of using sunscreen, she said that if the sun is too harsh, they go into the shade during peak hours. She also recommends SPF swimwear as a safer option and encourages people not to be afraid of the sun, especially during morning and late afternoon when it's not as strong. She mentioned that she loves, quote, letting the kids run around and soak it up during these times because it's good for them. Faiers also stated that she brings a tallow zinc SPF with her when she travels just in case, and she emphasizes that hats and caps are a must. Guess what? I don't hate this. She's more tanned than I am. Presumably her kids are not like 100% Cork City genetics. And it sounds like she knows what she's doing. She's like, if I were to take my kids to Zimbabwe, and they were out in direct sunlight for a long time, I would take some precautions. But day to day, maybe you don't maybe you do, but maybe you don't need to slather a small baby with commercial sunscreen that, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them do have a lot of chemicals. But like everything is a chemical. You know what I mean? Like everything is a chemical. I don't know how to explain that to you. Every single thing. Like, hang on. I'm going to use this AI thing again. Okay. Everything. I love this AI assistant. I was like anti-AI for a while. Okay. The phrase everything on earth is a chemical is a fundamental concept in chemistry. It means that all matter, from the air we breathe to the water we drink, the food we eat, and even our own bodies, is composed of chemical substances. And that's like atoms and elements, molecules, compounds, the world around us. Everything we see, touch, and feel is a collection of these atoms, molecules, and compounds. The human body is a complex mixture of chemicals, including water, proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. So like chemical, the word gets a bad rap. And I know what Sam Faiers means in this instance. She means like synthetic, harmful chemicals. But like, listen, don't be scared of all chemicals. I don't know these kids. I don't know Sam Faiers' kids, but even with my skin that reacts instantly to sunlight, I'm like a vampire. It feels like someone's pouring salt on a slug if the sun is hot. There are times of day that I can go out and I can feel the UV's low and it doesn't really hurt me. And I'm mindful and I get in the shade and I wear a hat and SPF swimwear. Like, it sounds like she's being really sensible. And for people to jump on her and be like, you don't know what you're saying, babe. I think just let her parent her kids the way she wants. If they were getting burned, like I believe that if they were in the school system, nursery even presumably, if they're showing up to nursery with like blisters and burns, I think somebody's going to raise a red flag about that. I think that falls under the umbrella of child endangerment. Like if it's going badly, someone's going to notice. I certainly would. If I worked in a nursery and a child came in that had like obvious, really bad sunburns, I'd be like, hang on, I'd have at least a conversation. But you got to let people make choices. Like, remember when we all used to make individual choices about parenting? And that's me saying that about sun safety. Having said that, do I think the amount of sunscreen that I choose to put on my kids is harmful? There are sunscreens that have given not my kids, but kids I've heard about rashes and stuff. I use like the best, and I'm going to keep doing that. And I use sunscreen on my own face every single day. But if a woman with a tan from Essex wants to like be lenient with it and use this zinc talc stuff, I'm fine with that. Like, leave this woman alone. You thought this week that I was going to be down on baby dads who are deadbeats, love them. And then I was going to go on the attack versus Sam Faiers for not putting sunscreen on her kids. Well, maybe they have natural melanin that I don't. And she sticks them under trees. She even said so herself. A few odds and ends for you now. Better late than never, or too little too late. This past Friday marked a truly terrible day for curious teens everywhere when the UK's media regulatory body Ofcom put in place rigorous age verification measures when accessing porn. An Ofcom report has found that 8% of children aged 8 to 14 in the UK visited an online porn site or app in a month, including 3% of 8 to 9-year-olds, the youngest children in the study. Boys aged 13 to 14 were most likely to visit a porn service, significantly more than girls of that same age. And I've heard this firsthand from parents, that they can hear their teenage boys listening to porn in the shower. Their little boys just become like so clean all of a sudden, and they're like, gotta have another shower, mom. And then they can hear like, from the shower. I mean, you know that I share all the feminist views about hypersexualization and porn teaching the wrong kind of sex to the wrong age group. So I don't want to draw any comparison between this next project that I'm doing and this story. But if you are an adult and you don't want to listen to porn or watch porn, as I don't, You like comedy, you want a little bit of naughty stuff. This might be a semi-appropriate segue to tell you that I'm doing a new podcast. The first episode came out this week with Fatia El Ghori and Stevie Martin. It is called Write Me Dirty. Write Me Dirty. And it's where I have two comedians every week going head to head writing erotic fiction about each other. And it's cringe and it's so funny because comedians are not good at being earnest. But I'm wrong about that because some of us are. Some comedians came in the room and they blew me away with like their experience in writing hardcore, full sex erotic fiction about the other comedian. So tune in for that. It's like nice, sexy. You know what I mean? It's hardcore. Like some of it is hardcore pornography. Yes. But we make light of it and it's really funny and you can feel good about listening to it. Nobody's, it's a very consent-based series. Not for children. It's not for children, just like porn's not for children. But the dog days of a box ticking exercise claiming that you're 18 are over. Websites now carry out processes involving credit card checks, photo ID matching, and or estimating age using a selfie. What could go wrong with that? In any event, Ofcom likens the age checks to being ID'd before purchasing alcohol or tobacco. Still, people are skeptical of how effective the new rules will be in practice. Some people have also suggested that getting around the age checks will be possible using VPNs. Worryingly, Ofcom noted that children using a VPN to access the internet would not be able to benefit from the protections of Online Safety Act. On the other hand, if you have a kid who's tech savvy enough to covertly operate a VPN without your knowledge, they're likely several steps ahead of you in a few regards. So I saw this and my first instinct was like, what? It was always just like tick a box and say you're 18. Like any teenager can crack that code and access the porn, right? Like they're just thinking now that they need age verification. Of course they do. And I didn't really look into what it involved. I think even adults of a certain vanilla variety who access porn would feel shameful or at least invaded and exploited potentially about the prospect of handing over their ID or selfies or photographs. Like that is a lot. If I were on the fence about accessing porn, which I am, by the way, because I know that even after several conversations with my gay friends, I don't know what to do about balls. I know that I'm supposed to be doing more with balls. I don't really know how to research like what to do with balls. And just the other day, a few times over the last few years, I have thought to myself, just watch gay porn, Katherine, then you'll see what to do with balls. But then, like, truthfully, I haven't wanted to even access those websites. I don't want like pornography websites as part of my algorithm. Not because I think I'll be caught out or anything. I just don't want it like thrown into the mix, like into the soup of what my devices think I like, because I don't like porn, but I do want to know what to do with balls. But anyway, now that I'm like, oh, if you want to know what to do about balls, Katherine, you have to like upload your driver's license. It is intimidating, but then people will do it for tobacco and alcohol. So there's always like a transitional period where you go, no, you can't have this information about me, the man, and then you just end up giving it over anyway. So I guess people who want porn will find a way. They will. On the topic of the ills of the digital age, in August's print edition of Vogue magazine, a guess advert. Guess, not a guest. Guess. It features a flawless blonde model showing off a striped maxi and a floral playsuit from the brand's summer collection. Slight rub. As indicated by small print in one corner, the ad reveals that she is AI. It's not a real model. While Vogue says the AI model was not an editorial decision, it's the first time an AI-generated person has featured in the magazine. So I guess Guess's new brand is asking customers to guess if the model is a real human. But I digress. The company behind Guess is controversial and, to be honest, not very well done, which is the bigger crime. AI mannequin is called Serafine Valora, and its founders, Valentina Gonzalez and Andrea Petrescu tell the BBC they were approached by Guess's co-founder, Paul Marciano, on Instagram, and they were asked to create an AI model as part of their brand's summer campaign. This is really smart because, I mean, a great model would charge 6 figures for a Guess campaign like this, at least, like depending on who. I don't know how much Anna Nicole Smith made when she was like the Guess girl, but in the 90s, it was a huge thing. Although in the 90s, yeah, you would get a lot of money for a campaign. You might not get a lot of money for a cover. That was kind of PR for you. But the campaigns, yes, they'd be paid very well for their time. This saves the brand money. We know that in almost every area of business and life, we are being replaced by AI. But I think what it does, you know, however you feel about this AI model, what's definitely genius about it is being the first is going to get people talking about Guess. People haven't been talking about Guess for a very long time. A very, very long time. They said, we've posted AI images of women with different skin tones, but people do not respond to them. We don't get any traction or likes. At the end of the day, we are a business and we use images on Instagram that will create a conversation and bring us clients. Ooh, because she's blondie. In case you're worried they weren't saying the quiet part loud enough, when asked why the company's yet to experiment with creating plus-size women, they claimed, oh, the technology is not advanced for that. Yeah, the AI probably breaks down when you're like, I'm going to need a model, a fat one. And AI is like, why would you want that? What are you talking about? Do you mean a 13-year-old who's very, very thin? Just time now for a few of your letters. If you would ever like to send me an email, a dilemma, any comment about the podcast, or help for another listener that you don't think that I've adequately covered in my own answer, you can email us at tellingeverybodyeverything@gmail.com. And this is from a listener in America. Katherine, I'm a thriving 33-year-old baddie with an awesome career, friends, brilliant boyfriend, and 2 sweet cats. I love my life. However, my estranged biological father has made an abrupt return. I was raised by my single mom who was funny, strong, and could have been a model. Seriously, a bombshell. It was just us as her family did not approve of her being unmarried and crushing it on her own. Can I just take a minute? What a crazy family to be like, you are our family, but we don't approve of you having a child alone. Like, so if you can't find a man, any man, to fulfill this like obligatory role in your life, then we're not going to have contact with our granddaughter? What? Like, you're alone, so we're going to make you more alone. I'm so sorry for your mother that she had a family like that. That is like actually fucking wild to me. So her family did not approve of her being unmarried and crushing it on her own. Okay. She suddenly passed when I was entering university, and I found myself a very young adult with no family ties. Suddenly passed when you're, oh, that's so sad. I'm sorry. Luckily, my best friend, who was more like a brother, took me in. It's been more than a decade of being adopted by his family. They call me their daughter, and I feel so lucky to have them. Now, this scrub of a sperm donor has appeared. I have no hate for him, but I feel nothing. I haven't seen him since I was very young. I think that you'd be surprised to find that you do have animosity toward him because you just called him a scrub of a sperm donor. I know maybe you think, and that's not a criticism, like you think, I feel nothing toward him, but look at the language you used. You weren't like, my biological father, from whom I was always estranged, contacted me. You're like scrub of a sperm donor. So like on some level, you don't appreciate this guy, you blame this guy, you don't like this guy. And I think that you are well justified in having that anger. Like even if it's as an adult, maybe you get it and you're like, oh, I don't feel anything for him. But the child version of you sounds like she is a little bit something. She has some type of feelings, anger, I don't know what to call it. This scrub of a sperm donor. And I think she's correct, by the way. Love a deadbeat dad. I have no hate for him, but I feel nothing. I haven't seen him since I was very young. He found me on socials and started sending messages about how much he loves me and misses my mom. He says he's sick with lung cancer, and that sucks, but what does it have to do with me? My question, do I respond to him? Am I the bad guy for icing him out? People say blood is thicker than water, but being adopted, the most important people in my life are the family who chose me when I was at my most lost. I have such great parents now. I don't want to disrespect them either. What do I do? It is crazy that you're from America because you sound incredibly British. You are worried about everyone but yourself. You're like, I don't want to offend my adopted parents. I don't want to be the bad guy by icing this guy out who's dying of lung cancer. It's kind of like rich that he's dying of lung cancer he's sick with lung cancer. Didn't mean to jump the gun. But do you think he'd be messaging you if he was killing it? Has he been like nailing it other times in his life and decided to reach out to you then? Or is he just contemplating his own mortality now? He doesn't want to go to hell. And he's like, oh God, I abandoned this family and I fucked up. Like, even if it was an abandonment, let's say your mom got rid of him, which hopefully she did. He fumbled the ball with her. She was beautiful, as you said. She was a career woman. She was amazing. She raised you on her own. Her own family didn't approve of her being unmarried. She was super hyper independent. And this guy was not in her life. And now he's coming to maybe the end of his life, or he's at least confronting it. And he's going, oh no, well, I'm going to reach out and like suck up some of the youth from this offspring that I just remember I had. You are beholden to no one. People say blood is thicker than water. You wrote me. People say that. Well, you know from experience that you and your mother were left in the lurch by her blood relatives. And then you found an adopted family. So blood is thicker than water. Sounds like you have proven in your own life, with the exception of your biological mother, has been bullshit for you. Do I respond to him? I don't know. But am I the bad guy for icing him out? No, if that's what you want to do. Being adopted, the most important people in your life are your family. Yes. I don't think they would feel disrespected if you reached out to him. I don't think you have to worry about these people. They sound like really balanced, measured people who actually love you the way a parent should. They love you unconditionally, and they would understand if you were like, I have some unfinished business. I need to like talk to this guy before he potentially dies. I don't think they would blame you or feel disrespected about that. And I don't think it's something that you should worry about when it sounds like the worry needs to be for you. I don't know what I would do. This is a very personal choice, but it should be made from a place of power and not from guilt. Because right now, all I'm seeing in this email is guilt, and this guy is probably an asshole. And meeting him, it could do more harm than good. You know, at least if you don't know who he is, you're like, maybe this is like a guy who had reasons. Like, I don't know. How about, okay, do you think it would offend your mother? That would be the only person that she is your number one and she is not alive to defend herself. You might meet this guy and he'll be like, yeah, your mom did this and blah, blah, blah. And maybe you are strong enough to take that with a grain of salt. Or maybe your mother would be like calling to you from heaven being like, do not talk to this fuck. I wish your mother was around. I'm so sorry you lost your mother. I wish she was here to like tell you what to do in this situation. Can you go to like some type of healer and really listen hard and see what your mother would do? Has she ever spoken about him being a prick? Yeah, that's the only person whose opinion would matter to me if I were you. Sorry and good luck. Thank you very much for listening to another episode of Telling Everybody Everything. That's actually all the time we've got for today. I'm filming my special, my fourth special, for which I planned to be not fat, but am quite pregnant, August 29th in East London. That is sold out, so I'm not sure why I'm telling you that. I meant to tell you last week before tickets went on sale, but I didn't. You can listen to my new podcast, Write Me Dirty, wherever you get your podcasts. It features loads of your favorite comedians every week. You can also listen to the second series of What's My Age Again very soon. Thank you for listening to the first series. If you haven't, then dive on in because it was number one loads and it got great reviews and it was not my idea. So I'm not just like glazing myself. Lucy Cave and the Bauer team did an incredible job of like booking all the guests, and Nicola Conlon is so good as a science lady at interpreting all of these amazing results. And there's some really actionable tips and tricks on that podcast for how you can rewind your own biological age. So it was exciting to do, and I'm really thrilled that we're doing a second series. Please look after each other. I love you so much. Bye.